based on people's reactions to this thing that Acura was completely dominating the premium market. Pretty much everyone who saw the TLX Type S, from enthusiasts to, normal people, was impressed by it, at least from a styling standpoint. But wow factor is only part of the story. The real story is, how does the Acura TLX Type S stack up to the very formidable competition in this category? Well, the answer to that is a little bit more complicated. What's going on, everyone? Jax here, and today I'm with the 2021, actually, Acura TLX Type S. As usual, I'll start with the styling. And while the Acura TLX Type S might not be as jaw-droppingly gorgeous as the concept car that previewed it, this is still a very good-looking premium sedan. Love it or hate it, in this tiger eye pearl color, which is what the color is actually called, the TLX Type S is pretty visually stunning. And the big 20-inch Y-spoke wheels certainly help the look. Like rival Lexus, the sort of Acura styling motifs seem to be finally hitting their stride. But unlike its sort of competitor, the Lexus IS, the TLX doesn't immediately look rear-wheel drive. I don't really think you'll care though, because this is the best-looking Acura sedan since the 2004 Acura TL. But in my opinion, this is the best-looking Acura sedan since the second-generation Acura Legend, which was a simply gorgeous premium sedan. But we all knew it was good-looking, so let's get to the more important stuff, the stuff that you really care about. The TLX Type S is powered by a 3-liter turbocharged V6, making 355 horsepower and 354 pound-feet of torque, all running through a 10-speed automatic transmission and hitting the ground via Acura's super handling all-wheel drive. More on that later. That's good for a 0 to 60 time just over 5 seconds, which is not bad for this segment, if maybe just a tad slow. The TLX Type S also features adaptive dampers, extra chassis bracing, and 4-piston Brembo front calipers. The Type S exclusive Sport Plus mode further kind of sharpens all the responses, tells the transmission to hold gears all the way up to redline, which can confirm it does a pretty good job of that. And of course, the obligatory opening of the exhaust, which sounds pretty good as only a sort of Honda and Acura V6 can. I'm sure some of it is fake, but at this point, I'm just beyond caring. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Thank you, Hans Zimmer, whoever composes these things. That all sounds pretty awesome, right? Well, let's talk about how that translates more into sort of the real-world driving experience. So here we are behind the wheel of the TLX Type S, and I am going to start by mentioning that these seats are fantastic. I love these seats. These seats are some of the best because they somehow manage to strike a balance between very comfortable and cushy and almost plush, to be honest with you, and also very supportive. You can pump up the side bolstering. You can also increase the kind of, thigh bolstering. So A+ marks for these seats, A+ marks for this interior. It's quiet, it's well put together. The materials feel really good, really premium. Definitely up to this car's $56,000 price tag, which is a bit steep, but no complaints about the interior for sure. So what about this engine? 355 horsepower, 354 pound-feet of torque. Those are definitely healthy numbers if, in this horsepower torque crazed world, actually slightly low for this class of vehicle. I mean, it's a beautiful thing that we live in a world where 355 horsepower, which is the same as my 2002 Corvette, is considered low for this class, but there it is. But it is smooth, it is powerful. I mean, it's definitely nothing to sneeze at. The engine feels good, sounds pretty good too. We'll get to more of that in a second. So I don't have any trouble or problems with the engine. I will say though that it is turbocharged, and you do notice from time to time, especially if you kind of catch it napping and just punch the throttle, and it definitely has some lag to it, but you know, that's kind of a thing that we're all sort of coming to live with, which is ironic because that started to save fuel, and now we've got EV vehicles which have instant torque, which is the exact opposite, which is why I think many EVs are pretty cool or have the potential to be cool, but that's a conversation for another video. The ride in here is actually pretty good. We're gonna go down the handling road in normal mode because I've been driving it mostly in normal mode to commute, and the ride's very comfortable. It does a great job kind of maintaining control. So you get that kind of nice combination of compliance and control, which I really praise when I drive a vehicle like that. It does firm up quite a bit in sport, and this one has a Sport Plus mode because it's a Type S. I actually think it could be even crazier. Those modes are still surprisingly comfortable, even though the suspension is noticeably firmer. But I've been enjoying normal mode. I think this car does a really good job of having a level of athleticism in the suspension while still giving you a nice, comfy, serene ride. What is that in the road? Some construction equipment. Definitely don't need to hit that in my test vehicle. So we are on the handling road, dodging construction equipment at the front of it for some reason. And we're gonna go over the first rough patch coming up. And the TLX Type S really controls itself nicely here. So we hit it on the right side right here, and it's giving me a nice up and down motion without kind of needing 2 or 3 more after that. One thing I will note about this front wheel drive based chassis is that it controls roll pretty well, and I like the steering a lot in this car. The steering is quite good. It doesn't have a lot of feel, which is a bit of a bummer, but the accuracy, in my opinion, is razor sharp, and it feels really nice in terms of like its fake weighting, you know? So I don't have any problem with the steering. I really enjoy it, and I love this freaking steering wheel. I really, really love this steering wheel. It's Acura's kind of flat bottom sport wheel. Here's the big bump. Nicely done, nicely done. Anyway, back to the steering wheel. One of the things I like about this Acura wheel, in addition to it feeling fantastic, the leather on it feels really nice. I really like the fact that the diameter of it is not like super small. So you're able to make sort of these more precise adjustments as you're driving. And I feel like when I'm going around sort of a longer sweeping type of corner, you don't really have to adjust your line because you're able to dial in these kind of micro adjustments thanks to the size of the wheel. I just really enjoy it. It feels good. As you guys can see, the driving position in this car is one of the best I've been in a long time. The seat is excellent. I'm able to get the wheel out nice and far, which for me is a rarity. I'm 6'6", and it's very hard to get a wheel to come out far enough so that my elbows can be kind of at rest for turning. Now, if I was on a racetrack, this would be a very, very good setup for performance driving. Also, this Type S has the high performance package, which means it has the big Y-spoke wheels wrapped in Pirelli summer rubber. They look awesome. They just look great. I've mentioned that already in the style segment. They look good. By the way, I'm wearing a different shirt. Magic of editing. It's the next day. So what's the problem then? Because I've driven this car for a few minutes that I'm telling you about, and I've complimented its nice interior, its comfortable and supportive seats, it's great steering, it's got a nice ride in normal mode. So like, what is there to complain about? You've probably seen a couple reviews where the TLX Type S lost ground to the Genesis G70 or the Cadillac CT5 in the Motor Trend article. And so you're going, well, wait a minute, hold on. Why are you praising it so much? Well, there's a drawback here, and it's kind of a semi-big one if you're really after the sort of dynamic excellence that a sports sedan, especially one that's supposed to be kind of a higher trim sports sedan, provides. that is the pedal responsiveness. The pedal responsiveness in the TLX Type S is not good. It's not great. The brakes are very powerful, and I've stood on them pretty hard, and this car has no trouble stopping. But one thing I mention a lot in these segments is a linear feel. That means there is a direct relationship between how much you push on the brake pedal and how much force is applied to the brakes. And the TLX Type S has a brake-by-wire system, which means there is actually no physical connection. It's electronic, and it's sort of guessing. Not guessing, that's unfair, but it's using algorithms to determine how much braking force you need. And those algorithms need to go back to school, because the TLX Type S wavers between way too grabby on initial bite to not as grabby on initial bite, but grabby later in the pedal travel, to grabby at the end of the pedal travel, to it's just kind of all over the map. And that's not what you want in enthusiastic driving. You want a direct, predictable relationship between the way that the brake pedal operates. I find the throttle pedal very similar. It doesn't always seem to be working in conjunction with the 10-speed automatic transmission, which, by the way, behaves pretty well in most conditions, especially just driving like this. The 10-speed automatic is just fine. I've got no problems with it. But when you get into aggressive driving, I've been in moments where it was brilliant. I put it into Sport Plus, I put the transmission into sport mode, and it was brilliant. I didn't use the paddles, I just gunned it, and it was snapping off red line upshifts. And then there was one time in Sport Plus and Sport transmission mode where I went from about a second gear, just dumped it, just flattened the throttle pedal, and it was like, yeah. And I was like, no, go. You're my sports sedan. I want you to go now. Now, I'm sure you could solve this problem by doing it in manual mode, and I did do it in manual mode, and it cracks off upshifts pretty quickly. It's commendable. But it's a little frustrating that there doesn't seem to be a sort of predictability to the behavior. I did notice that some of the magazines reported that on track as well with the super handling all-wheel drive. Now, that, I will be fair and say, you're not likely to encounter any of that in real-world driving. In fact, I took it down my sort of second handling road, the kind of performance handling road that I reserve for these types of cars, and it was cool, it was fun. Like, coming out of some of these corners, I mashed it, it didn't have any trouble putting the power down, it was there to play. So I think as a mountain driving companion, this would be fine and you would enjoy yourself. But there's that kind of predictability aspect in super high performance driving. Don't kid yourself. If you're not gonna do that, you'll probably think this is a pretty excellent car. But if you are into that stuff, or you're a more talented driver than I am, it might frustrate you a little bit. I mean, you do notice it. I noticed it, and I'm, marginally decent at driving fast, but some of you might be really good at driving fast, and you will probably notice that. Now, ergonomically, this car is pretty great. It's got buttons for many features. You've got the wireless charger right here. The gauges are big and sort of legible. We'll talk about that more later, but it's pretty good overall. My one complaint ergonomically is that the screen is not super big, and I like that Acura puts it up high and far away to kind of stay in your line of sight, but it's not super big, and maybe I'm getting old, but the font is really tiny, and I have horrible vision. So that made it kind of difficult to see sometimes. Engine song. Yeah. Oh man. I mean, this is a fun road. It kind of goes through some woods near the park. There's no houses on it or neighborhoods, so don't worry. And we're going the speed limit. It's fine. Everything's fine. And this car feels great on this road. The ride is so good. It's so much better than the GR86 that I had on this road. It felt like an Indy car. It felt like it had no suspension, which is cool. But oh my gosh, this thing is it's like the C8 Corvette just gliding over. That road didn't even feel like it. I remember I had the F-Type R, the Jag F-Type R on that road, and I thought my dental work was gonna shatter out of my face. And this thing just knifed through those corners, and you barely even heard the clipboard right there rattle. Yes, I keep my notes on the clipboard because I'm dumb. One more time. Better get out of the way, squirrel. I think I scared him. Don't worry, he's fine, he made it. Now, one of the things I will say about the pedals in this car that does make that a little disappointing is that in a situation like this, kind of hustling down this road before we get to the sort of little ultra handling loop right here, the TLX Type S is so good. It's so good on this type of road. It would be so good in the mountains that like you feel as if that pedal irregularity is like the one thing kind of marring this driving experience. That's a nasty little bump back there, and this thing just shrugged it off. It's so smooth. Man, this cabin is quiet too, going at this speed through here. Oh man. I mean, the steering, I can't compliment that enough. That is really good in this car. Ooh, that section is usually really harsh, and this thing just kind of rolled it off. And then I like this. Yeah, the transmission kicks down, giving you those nice downshifts with the little blip. Ah. You get the little whoosh and everything. This is a fun car, and let me say this, because I am filming this after I film the main part, so for continuity, I'm gonna break continuity right here and say this. I don't think I would buy this over a G70 or maybe even the Cadillac CT5, which I say later. I have not driven yet and I haven't. But this car grows on you. It does have that Honda Acura magic where it just feels like it's kind of like your friend, your playmate, your willing partner in this sort of dance, and it wants to be there for you. It wants to make you happy, and you're willing to forgive it for some of these imperfections. And I'm willing to forgive it for some of these imperfections because it does feel good. This engine feels like it could do what I just did on the little, super handling road, like over and over and over again. It feels like you could just beat on this thing. And it doesn't care. If anything, it welcomes it and says, yeah, that's what I'm for. Yeah, do it. Come on, floor me again. Do it. Hit that road again. And there's just something kind of special about it. I don't know if a car in this class of vehicle has grown on me like this one has. I mean, it looks great, obviously, and there's all that, but the driving experience, I sit here and talk about these flaws in it, and it is flawed, but it's endearing somehow still. I don't know. Oh, man. And it just wants to do that. It's so much more satisfying than when I had the Lexus IS 350, and that was the F Sport model, and it looks super good from the outside, but the interior is pretty bleh, and the driving experience is like, yeah, it'd be good if you sunk another 10,000 into it to wake up the, V6 engine and stuff. And this thing just is like right out the gate, floor it, floor it, floor it, And you could do that in a, state or an environment where it's not as nice as it is here outside of Atlanta. I mean, this is like the perfect day for this. And I'm just mashing it, and the TLX wants to play, and now I'm regretting the fact that I'm not in the mountains. I just hit that bridge expansion intentionally hard, and this thing didn't even, it's really nice, man. The suspension setup on here, if you want to play at being super sporty, but you're like not actually super sporty, this is the car for you because it always feels good. Here's the problem with the TLX Type S as it stands. This is a very, very, very good luxury sports sedan in a class of vehicles, a very, very competitive class of vehicles, where great is kind of the average. Let me start by saying that I really like the interior of the TLX Type S. The Type S comes with a trim exclusive orchid leather seating, whatever that is. The ELS Studio 3D audio system, which sounds incredible, and Acura's comprehensive suite of safety features called Acura Watch, which includes basically everything you could want. Well, except for a surround view camera, something a $56,000 car should have. These seats are phenomenal, and the flat bottom steering wheel both looks and feels excellent. And the materials in general feel very premium, more so than in something like the Lexus IS, in my opinion. The cabin is quiet, and pretty much everywhere your hand touches is leather, soft-touch plastic, very convincing bright work, and it's got nice LED ambient lighting. This is an excellent Acura interior. But there are a few problems. In addition to lacking a surround view camera, the screen is, in my opinion, a bit small. And for something that's that far away, which is part of Acura's infotainment thing, which I don't mind, I don't mind. I actually don't complain about Acura's infotainment interface. The trackpad does not bother me all that much. However, if the screen is going to be far away so it can be in your line of sight, then it needs to be a little larger, and the font and the graphics on it need to be a lot larger. I mean, you know, maybe I'm just getting old. And the gauge cluster is a bit boring for a vehicle in this price range. I mean, the idea is kind of cool that they're sort of silvery with like red numbers and stuff peeking through, but they become all but invisible in direct sunlight or when you're wearing polarized sunglasses. That's a bit of a problem. I think at 56 grand, you need to have a digital gauge cluster, something that looks a little bit fancier and more kind of techy. And then there's rear seat space, which behind me, this is where I have the seat, there's hardly any. While the TLX has a very generous sized trunk, for a front-wheel drive based chassis, it seems to be kind of lacking in rear seat space. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, then you know I'm 6.5 feet tall, so this is sort of an extreme use case scenario, but still, this is also extremely small for a vehicle of this size. Now, to be fair, in the TLX's defense, a lot of sedans in this sort of vehicle segment suffer from a fairly tight rear seat. I complained about the exact same thing in the Genesis G70 review. However, that's a rear-wheel drive-based chassis, and I feel like the rear-wheel drive-based Lexus IS somehow seems to use its packaging a little bit more efficiently than the TLX. I would suspect the TLX has a slightly bigger trunk, but the IS seems to have a comparable, if not maybe slightly bigger, rear seat. Which kind of brings me to my conclusion. Should you buy an Acura TLX Type S? Well, I don't think I would buy a regular TLX, that's for sure. I just don't see how it could really stand out and separate itself in this highly competitive category of vehicles. But this Type S trim kinda has me vexed. Its styling has really grown on me, even in this color. I think it looks awesome. The powertrain is a wildly mixed bag, and pretty fantastic and smooth and powerful turbo V6, a sometimes brilliant 10-speed automatic transmission, and super irritating pedal calibrations. In day-to-day driving, the chassis feels superb, but those who have tested this vehicle at sort of 10/10 at the limit track handling report inconsistencies in the way Acura's super handling all-wheel drive system applies the power in and out, especially out of corners. So, what do you do? Well, I think you have to start by being super honest with yourself. Are you a regular 10/10 driver? Are you planning on taking this vehicle to track days, or are you planning on taking this vehicle up into the mountains for a good solid thrash and doing that pretty often? I suspect for most people, the answer is probably no. Do you want a luxury sedan that turns heads, is comfortable in day-to-day driving, and can really hustle when you ask it to? If your answer to that is yes, then in my opinion, the TLX Type S might actually be better than the Genesis G70, the Lexus IS 350F Sport, and possibly even the Cadillac CT5. But it is worth noting that both the Genesis G70 and the Lexus IS 350F Sport cost thousands less than this $56,000 Type S. Now, financed over time, the difference is probably negligible, but it is still a difference. If it were up to me, I'd probably slightly lean towards the Genesis G70, mainly because I haven't tested the Cadillac CT5 yet. I can live with the sort of harsher day-to-day ride of the Genesis G70 because I have a fairly short commute, and I'd probably be more willing to take that over the inconsistent pedal response of the TLX Type S. But if you want your sports sedan to be a jack of all trades, and most definitely a master of none, then the Acura TLX Type S might be for you. And I don't mean that as a dig or a knock against the TLX Type S. I still think this car looks fantastic and I love its interior. But it might not quite be enough of what you're looking for. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for checking out this video, and thanks for making it to the end. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, know that I appreciate you, and I really thank you for being here. I couldn't do it without you guys, and I absolutely love where this channel has taken me and the opportunities it has afforded. Opportunities like driving this really awesome Acura TLX Type S. It really is a great car, and I had a great time this week with it. And this is an incredibly competitive category. And you guys no doubt probably have your own opinions. So let me know down in the comments, what luxury performance sedan would you buy in this sort of mid-50s price range? Which one are you interested in? Which one do you maybe own? And if you can't afford them like me, which one would you dream about? I'd love to know. Thanks so much for watching. Tune in next time, whatever the next video may be, and until then, ride safe, drive safe, and I'll see you in that next video. Peace. Dude's literally skateboarding while a car drives alongside of him. I'm not sure a better way to communicate that I'm kind of a loser. It's one thing to cruise in your car, it's another thing to cruise in your old pickup truck at a public park. Who are you trying to pick up? I think we need to call the authorities. 4 hours later.